In the next step, I'm going to add the Swagger documentation to our microservices project. So before doing that, I want to create a pull request to uh, merge the changes we have done so far to the master branch. Let me give the title as this, and I will give a description. And we are going to merge the changes from this branch to master. So I will create the pull request. So it is showing there are no conflicts with base branch. Now I can click this merge pull request. I can keep this description and I will click the confirm merge. Now if we go back to the repository and we can see now we are in the master branch and we can see all the latest commit message, including the last commit that we added, which is the added unit test for controller layer. Now let me go back to git bash and we are right now in this branch. I will now check out to the master branch. And let me issue the command git log. Right now, this is the master branch which is in my local machine. So I don't see the latest commit messages in this master branch. It only shows the last merge message, which I did after completing the staff service microservice. So I will now issue git pull, and it pulled all the latest changes from the remote repository. And if I issue the git status now, let me issue the git log. And now I see the latest commit message I did earlier. So our master branch is up to date in my local machine uh, compared to the remote branch. So now I'm going to create a new branch to add the Swagger documentation. I will give the branch as order manager V8. Now we are in the new branch. order underscore manager v8. Let's add the Saga documentation to the customer service project first. So when we adding this Saga documentation, first thing we have to do is we have to add the dependency to our pom.xml file. We can search the dependency uh, Spring Doc Open API Starter WebMVC UI Maven. So we can go to this MVN repository and we can get the latest version. I'm going to copy this latest version and I will add into the pom.xml file of the customer service microservice. I will click the load Maven changes. Now the dependency has resolved. So the next thing we have to do is we have to create a configuration class related to the Swagger documentation. So I will create a new package called config first. Inside this config package, I'm going to create a new class. I will name this class as OpenAPI config. And we have to annotate this class with at configuration annotation. And this annotation marks this class as a Spring configuration class. So it will be picked up by the component scanning. Inside this class, I'm going to create a method. The method return type is OpenAPI, and I will give the name of the method as because we are in the customer service, I will name it as customer OpenAPI. And I'm going to annotate this with at bean annotation. So this annotation marks this method to register the returned object as a Spring Bean. So that's the purpose of annotating with at bean annotation. So this OpenAPI is actually the root object representing the full OpenAPI definition. So I'm going to return here, return new OpenAPI. Then I'm going to use info. This info section holds the general metadata about the API. The metadata means title, version, description, etc. So inside this, I'm going to give here new info. And let me give the metadata like title. So I will give the title as customer service microservice APIs. Next, I will give the version. I will give the version as 1.0.0. Next, I will give the description to describe what is this purpose of this APIs. So let me give a description like REST API documentation for customer service microservice project. Next, I'm going to give the contact regarding to whom to contact related to these APIs. So that's all I want to give here in the info section. So next, we have to make some changes to the application.properties file to specify the URL to access the Swagger documentation. So I will add these properties to the application.properties file, springdoc.swagger -ui dot path, and we have to give the path to access the documentation. So let's go to the controller. So in our controller, we have this customer-service in our base URL. So I will add that part first, and after that I will add swagger -ui dot html as the rest of the path. Next, I'm going to give the next property, that is springdoc dot api -docs dot path. So I'm going to use the same URL portion, that is customer service slash then API-docs. Next, I'm going to add the Swagger related annotations to our controller class, that is customer controller. On top of the customer controller class, I'm going to add tag annotation from Swagger, and I will give the name first. And as the name, I will give customers And next I will give the description. As the description, I will give product operations for customers. And this at tag annotation is used in Swagger to group and describe a set of related endpoints. Next, I'm going to add another annotation on top of each endpoint. So that annotation is at operation annotation from Swagger. Inside this first attribute is summary. This create customer endpoint, I can add a summary as create a new customer. And next I can give a description. Next I'm going to add the responses. I can add two different responses here. First one I can add when it is a successful operation, what could be the response and response code and everything. Next I can add the response when it is a bad request. So I'm going to use at API response, and inside that first I will specify the response code. For the successful operation, we know the response code is 201, and the description I can give as customer created. Next, I'm going to specify the content. So content I can give as first at content annotation, and inside that content I'm going to specify the media type as application slash JSON. Next, I'm going to specify the schema. For the schema, I will use at schema annotation. So the schema here specifies the return JSON will match the fields of which class. So in this case, we know the JSON will match the fields of customer DTO class. So I'm going to give here customer DTO dot class. So that's for the successful response. Next, I'm going to add the response when it is a uh, bad request. So again, I'm going to add at API response. And here I'm going to use the response code as, let's put 400, and description I'm going to put here as invalid input, and for content I will just add at content. I'm not going to specify any schema for this one. So that's the at operation details for the post mapping. Similarly, I can add the similar kind of details for the other endpoints. So let me copy this, and on top of the get all customers endpoint, I will paste it, and I will change this accordingly. So this one get all customers, and description returns a list of customers, and for the response, here the response code should be 200, and description I can give as list of customers, and for the content we will use the application slash JSON, and schema here it's still customer dto.class, and I'm not going to specify any error response for this one. Next, I'm going to add the at operation to the get customer by ID endpoint. So this is a summary I can give. Get a customer by ID, and description returns a customer by ID, and API response. For the successful response, the response code is 200, and description I can give customer found, and content is application slash JSON, and schema is still customer dto.class, and for the failed response, the response code is 404. If there is no customer found, then it should be 404, and we can give the description as customer not found. Next, I will add the at operation for the update customer endpoint. The API response, the response code should be 200 for the successful response, and description I will give as customer updated, and content application slash JSON, and schema is still customer dto.class, and I can add two more uh, unsuccessful response codes. First, I can add this 400 and invalid input, and next I can add one more API response, that is when there is no customer found. The response code is 404, and description is customer not found. Next, I will add the at operation for the delete customer endpoint. The description here is deletes a customer by ID, and for the successful response, the response code should be 200, and the description customer deleted, and for the failed response, API response should be 404 when there is no customer found with that ID. And I can give here the description as customer not found. So let's run this project and let's try to access the documentation. And it was started. If you go to the application.properties file, we know the port that customer service is running on. It is running on port 8090. So we have to use this URL, and let's go to the browser. Localhost colon 8090, and I will paste the URL for the documentation, and we can see the documentation is loading.